So, one of the important question is that whether our corporate culture, what each one of us is talking about personal learning, that is not a, that is learning, we find ways and we are trying to overcome our own shortcoming because we have not learned, and therefore, we are finding some ways and means to learn. But mentor and menteeship relationship is very different, where mentee and mentor has got very different kind of bond. Mentor must understand mentee's ability and like that. So, here what happens in organization context, mentor is senior, he is a leader, better position wise, and mentee is the junior and like that. So, what kind of dynamics that plays out if we institutionalize, formalize, what each one of us we are talking about the personal learning, how do we learn? If mentor is daughter and something we are that can happen. We are not able to, and daughter or son they can teach us, that's perfectly fine. But here in organization context, you are talking about a junior to become your mentor, and a senior who is a corporation and maybe at leadership position or somewhere, etc. And you are trying to overcome certain of shortcomings. Whether there is what are the cultural barriers within the organization, whether this can be formalized. That is the like whenever some new faculty will be recruited, director will say that okay, XYZ, you go and you try to take care of this person, he is too young, he is just coming from the fellowship, and he may be too enthusiastic. You have to make him learn that how to deal with this student, how to do this, how to do that, and kind of thing. They say, now reverse process is just saying that you are okay, you have a lot of experience, but here is the younger person, new technology knows, let us say, artificial intelligence, this and that, which you can perhaps might be useful in your analysis, in your context, etc., and like that. Whether the organization are ready. What is your opinion? That's what we are. So it is one thing theoretically saying.
No, I think at the heart it seems good, but on practical purposes it isn't, because a CEO is doing something which is very different from what the juniors are supposed to do. They are very specialized in those areas, on those this thing, and they are updated. If a CEO, because the pace at which things are changing, as you mentioned, the CEO may have to spend 10 times more time to learn which these guys learn in a few hours, because our learning ability on technology, especially when you are not used to, is very, very slow. So it's basically a teamwork. Yes, the CEO should find out how it works, how efficiently it can be used, and get the right people to do it, is what I feel. So it may not, in today's time, I have never heard a reverse mentorship in organization in a structured form, but it's happening. For example, the HOD himself actually takes that initiative and gets people who are younger to deliver more efficiently. This is what I have observed, and I have done that in my organization at HCFC also. When I recruited, I said I don't want somebody who will duplicate my work. I want somebody who understands social media. I don't understand that. So that acceptability to tell him that, boss, you are a specialist. You are the CEO of this area. I may be the CEO of the normal communication. That itself encourages him, and that also encourages him to teach me, to pass on. So kabhi kal ko kuch naya, something he does new, he is very excited to come and share with you. This is from my experience I'm saying. I don't know what other organizations are doing, but it definitely, you can't have a CEO learning everything. It's impossible, because his responsibility is very, very different.
So let me take a shot at this. So one thing is, I think in organizations, it is very difficult to formalize it, because unless you are very senior and the mentor is very junior, it is okay. But in between levels, and where there are middle level managers and so on, there's a lot of issues about ego, issues about acceptability and so on, and then sometimes the junior person who's a mentor may want to misuse the reach that person has to the to the mentee to influence the career and all. So you have to be very careful that you are because you are being mentored, you are not giving that person undue advantage in their career ladder because you know them. So that is one thing. Second aspect to this is that you can learn only specific skills on which you should designate that for technology I will get reverse mentorship, for so and so forth. Connecting with young customers I will get reverse mentorship, but other things you don't need reverse mentorship. You know what leadership is, you know what organization management is, so you really don't know. So you need to identify which topic and choose the person who is doing that. And the third thing I want to just say is that when you do this reverse mentoring, one of the things which we all how to put it, we all should understand is that it is for limited time. So there is a defined scope, defined time, so it is not in perpetuity. And on a lighter side, to the senior leaders, if they ever see this, I think it is the more senior you are, the more fun it is to talk to the young people, because they will tell you things about the world which you have no clue of. So they will tell you how things happen, they will tell you, oh, it's so easy to do this, they will tell you the insights. So I think just from fun angle, you should always try and talk to the young people. They will always teach you something, even if it is not a formalized session.
Oh, see, I'll tell you one great personality, very well-known personality called Deepak Parekh. I worked with him for almost 4 decades. Okay. You know, when I go as an HOD to him for a meeting and I have my junior, when I'm interacting with him on certain topic, if he finds that my junior wants to say something, he will stop me. He will stop me because he knows I know him for 2-3 decades and I am going to respond to what he likes. The junior fellow who's just joined a year or is attending a 3rd or 4th meeting, he is not pre-cooked or pre-prepared. He'll give that original idea. This is one super quality of his. At that age, he continues to do that. So, you know, this may not be the mentoring part of it, but how do you encourage youngsters to communicate or speak out what they have in, only then the new ideas will come. This is my experience with him, so I just thought I'll share with you.
Yeah. No, I agree with them. Bringing a reverse mentorship in a structured form, I don't know whether from a corporate world we are really ready. We are really ready for that, Frank. But from an individual functions perspective, there are few areas where you can definitely take their help to, bring your organization to a different level. One example which I can definitely talk about is a transformation. So any technological transformation which you want to do in an organization, I'm 100% sure a younger guy can lead much better form than maybe somebody of our age. Secondly, while we were talking about the young entrepreneurs, the kind of value they are creating in the market, is something still, I'm just taking, I'm borrowing his idea of, looking at GE at one stage and say, for example, NVIDIA or Blinkit for that stage. And the present corporate world is still in the old mindset. It's very difficult to change as of now. This might get changed. Of course, we are looking at, signs where we understand that, this is our vulnerability. And we are going to the younger generation to teach us, maybe at an individual level, but later on, definitely, while the young entrepreneurs are coming up that fast, we the reverse mentorship is something which can, definitely can become a proper structure in the organizations.
A related question, and that is also coming from your answers somewhat, that whether the organizational design itself has a issues related to where we can have reverse mentorship or not. For example, one can have open and flat type of organization where communication is more widely shared and distributed and communication is not prohibited anywhere, versus let us say hierarchical kind of organization. So,
I think it also depends on how your higher authority, seeks this. If your top leadership is flexible, so I can talk about my leadership there. Any discussion on the brand, any discussion on TGs, any discussion on marketing, we all say let's go to the younger teams who are like 25 to 35. Let's understand what they're saying. How they perceive our brand. How is consumer coming to the mall? How they're looking at it. When you go to mall, how do you want to spend time? Those are the generation who are actually going to our malls and spending time. So we actually seek their opinion. But it again depends on an organization and how your top leadership is. So it's more of a top-down approach rather than a structured approach in the entire corporate.
I think just one thing that I'd like to say is organizational culture typically is a manifestation of how the key leaders execute daily. And I think what I have seen from my own personal learnings over my working career is great leaders are those who have a wide repertoire of a range of skills. This is a toolkit available. So a smart leader will pick that toolkit when it's needed. I think we just heard an example. If you're looking to design something fresh to that target market, you should talk to the target market. Absolutely. So I just think that behind this fanciful concept is a great approach to making sure that you are contemporary and you're thinking ahead of the curve. So leaders who are able to pick the essence of that, I think will ensure that it is happening practically. And people who typically get left behind are the ones who have the I know it all hat in their day-to-day approach. So people who are willing to take that hat and say there are things that I don't know, I'm happy to learn, and have the humility to say that I don't know, are very powerful leaders. History is filled with those examples. So I think that's how I see it. I think it's a great concept, and I think the heart of it is to listen to people irrespective of where they sit in the hierarchy. So I think that to me, and therefore build a proper process to stitch this up. People who get it can help others also learn that this is a toolkit available. That's how I see it.
So can I just add to what you said, that one of the reasons why how organizations can formalize, it's just a thought which has come, is that if there is a way that the senior leaders identify what are the skills of the future, and then during appraisal time or review time of the leaders say that these are the skills you have, these are the skills of the future, how do you think you are going to fulfill this? Then sometimes it will be self-driven by those leaders, or you can institutionalize it and say that, listen, you lack the skill, but so and so person in that department, junior, knows, can we ask them to work with you for some time? So, but it has to be a very gradual and gentle process. But his point of, if the leader thinks that I have spent decades in this and I know it all, never going to happen. Because unless you have the desire to learn, and it's not going to happen.